Hey everybody, welcome to Roxy Music. We are so excited that you're here. I don't even know what episode we're on now. We've been shooting. This is the first time though that we're sitting here and we have this wonderful logo sitting behind us that was hand painted this last week by a little half-inch brush. So it's pretty cool. It's one of the things that I don't really enjoy doing, but I do enjoy doing. So anyways, welcome to Roxy Music. We are an awesome, I'm going to say an awesome because these guys make it amazing here, independent music store in Northern Indiana. We love music. Today we're going to talk a little bit differently than we normally talk because sometimes we just talk about music theory, we talk about taking lessons, we'll talk about products, what you can buy, or what we just really talk about whatever we want to talk about. But today, Tyler brought to us this album and said, hey, let's talk about this album. And why did you say let's talk about this album?
Well, I really like the song "Hold My End Up" because I didn't hear, but it's one of your favorite albums. I've heard it for a long time.
It's one of my favorite albums that's on play. It's on play all the time. I have it. It's actually by a band called Delta Spirt, Into the Wide. What's amazing about this album is, Nate, is this your favorite album you've ever listened to?
That's not my favorite album that I've ever listened to.
No, it's not. And so
you made it sound like I don't like it.
No, but that's okay. And we'll get into it. We're going to get into that because music is such an awesome thing. What I love versus what you love. And we all know mine's better, but I'm just kidding. Hey, listen, stick with us. We're going to get into it when we come back. All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm joined today with Nate Miller and with Tyler Grace here at Roxy Music. We are talking about, we're sort of going to talk about one of my favorite albums by Delta Spirt called Into the Wide. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see it. I'm a vinyl guy. I don't know if you know that. I'm a vinyl guy. I love vinyl stuff. Like sitting around and listening to it. Me and my uncle get into it all the time. I think vinyl sounds better than MP3s any day. I don't know that vinyl sounds better than CDs. But I definitely, one of our favorite things that we've done is we did an A/B on Dire Straits. Brothers in Arms is one of my favorite songs of all time. I just love that one. And so we did a vinyl record versus a CD versus a MP3, and just
was there a winner?
Yeah, the vinyl record definitely won. And it maybe has more to do with the vibe, because the sleeve is way bigger. So,
the pictures look better.
The pictures look way better. So, anyways, let's get into it. We are talking about Delta Spirt. I'll give you my introduction to this, and we could talk about how you find music that you love. How about because this is I don't know how you find music, but for me, I'm often watching a movie and I hear a soundtrack on it. I'm like, wow, that, because it sets, I'm a picture guy, like my head sees pictures. And so I can equate, something to what I see in that. But in this instance, we were down in Indianapolis at a Need to Breathe concert, I think it was. And we were just sitting there waiting on the lawn. And all of a sudden I heard this song on.
You remember what song it was?
I do. It was actually the one I was just showing you. I think it was Hold My End Up on the B side of album number 1. B2 is Hold My End Up. I was like, what is that music? I love that music. Hey, Brian. So I went and looked it up, at the power of MP3 players and stuff. I looked it up and it's like, there it is. I put it on and it just became on repeat. Then I got vinyl records going all the time.
So they were just playing it at the concert?
It was just like the pre-show house music, and I was just like, I sat there and I was like, I love this album. So
it's also where we found Colony House, isn't it?
I did. I found Colony House, which I really love and enjoy Colony House too, just because that was, well, no, they were actually playing.
They played, yeah.
They were playing there.
They opened it.
So anyways, but it's one of my favorites, but it's not one of your favorites, and I think that, but it's not saying you didn't like it.
No, I certainly did like it. There's things I liked, there's things I didn't like. There's things that I liked production-wise, things that I thought that just weren't super duper exciting or anything like that.
What did you like production-wise?
I really appreciated the bass and the drums are.
Yeah, like that. It's one of my favorite things.
I always start there, being a bass player.
Yeah,
I'm always gonna kind of always listening to the low end first. And there's a great foundation to the album. And they're obviously doing a lot with effects and a layering of tons of different instruments, and without a solid foundation, it's really hard to do that.
That opening track on Push It, it kicks in. It's just got that snare drum with a ton of echo on it. It's just hitting and it's echoing throughout.
Put as like a part of the groove, so it's like boom. It's another. It feels like a hit, but it's just the verb from the.
Yeah, it's just the snare. Right?
I love that stuff. I love that production work that comes into it. I'm a synth guy. Like, I love synths. I'm a bass player first, but nowhere near to your level. But I love bass and stuff. But man, when they got soaring synths, like, that's one of the things that just captured me, is like just the high synths that go on, and then also the soaring lines. Like, I'm not a shredder. I don't really get into shredding too much, really, but when there's a soaring melody line or something, I love it. And when they slam a ton of reverb all over the production, then I really love it. There's a ton of reverb on this thing. But the guitar tones are awesome, the synth tones are awesome, the drum tones.
The thing with the least amount of reverb is probably the vocals, and they don't have a
vocals are pretty dry. So,
but I think that a lot of it seems like they're using that tactic of there's 3 or 4 instruments playing the same melody that the vocals are singing, so you're kind of getting a lot of that saturation.
Yeah, a lot of layering
from those things blending together, which I think is an awesome technique. It makes the words come through really clearly too.
Yeah. So you did some research on these guys, because I never even researched them. In fact, they have more albums than this album.
They have 6 albums.
Yeah, and this is the only album that I've listened to.
Don't tell them.
Yeah, don't tell them. Hey, Delta Spirit, I think this album's amazing. I believe I think it's their highest selling.
It's their highest,
their biggest selling album, because it sounds amazing. Like, I love it. But they are a band that's been out there, and I've watched some of their live stuff. I think they did a really cool, like, guitar center sessions that was pretty cool, that they were in there, and I love that, so tell me a little bit about Delta Spirit.
They started around 2005. The bass player and the drummer were good friends, and they played in bands all the time together. And then they met the singer, Matt Vasquez, I think is his name, busking at 2 a.m. in the morning in California.
Oh, that's cool. And so for those on there, what is busking?
It's just like straight gigging on the street, right?
Yeah. You've seen everybody's seen a guy playing the guitar on the side of the road.
Hey, Brian, it's good to see you, man. Take it easy. We should have you sit in on the couch and talk some stuff with us here. So.
Once I realized it was.
Sorry, we are in the middle of a shop, so it's great when we see our customers come in or see friends come in. So, so anyways, go back at it. So,
so they met him busking on the side of the road, just playing and singing on the street for money, and then they become good friends and they started a band.
This is that band?
Yes.
So is it just a trio typically? Or?
No, there's 5 people. They added people later on, but that's how it started with those 3. They came out with an EP. And then it started 2 albums before this one, and then that's kind of where they left off.
Where was that location?
So that was in California. So they started in California, and then like around the time of this one, they moved to New York.
About around the time of this one?
Yeah, this one was their only album in New York. They built a studio, got a ton of all their recording equipment there. Wrote the album. They wrote 45 songs for this album.
45 songs. I'm lucky if I can write 1 song in 2 decades.
Yeah.
That's a lot of material.
I've written music, awesome. But I'm just so like it has to be absolutely perfect before I can move on. That kills me when it comes to songwriting. So 45 songs.
Principally, it makes sense, because then you can get your songs, and then because I was watching the interview, they don't try and create a storyline throughout the whole album. They try and create a story in the song, and focus.
Their songs are very storytelling songs, which I love. That's one of the things that I love about them. They paint pictures, and I love that.
But with that, it's hard to get songs that go together.
Yeah. Right. Well, and we don't listen to this goes together so well.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing I do love is you listen to it in a as an album as a whole, which in today's society we don't do that anymore.
No, not really.
It's
You're
all
not taking it
singles.
in that way. I was going to say, this is the sound is there for
the
an
whole album
right?
sounds the same, even though they wrote 45 songs. Like, it's got a sound.
But like, I mean, that's a lesson. Like, if you want a killer album that's gonna go big, and you write 50 songs, the likelihood that you get the good ones is much higher.
Yeah, that's true too.
I mean, and you're just getting better at it every time you
Yes.
write. Yeah. So.
And then do that for 3 albums, and then you've
Yeah.
You got a lot of tunes there.
Yeah.
I'm curious how they, how do you if you're picking songs from an album from 45 songs, that's got to be intimidating, or like people are like fighting for one.
Have you done a big recording project or an album?
Yeah, we have. There's been other ways that we picked the songs. So like one time we knew we were only going to record 6 songs, but we had 10 kind of or so songs that we were working on. But we had a record producer, so he was like, "I'm not doing that song," So he made those decisions for us. So producers. But so that was great. That was great. But then but then it was a huge argument. And other times where I remember the first Midwest Hype album, we had 20 songs, but we could only put out 1 CD. And all this music is not going to fit on there.
Yeah.
So
well, in the old days, like when you had CDs or you were putting it on tape, I mean, it was literally about the media you were putting it on. You could only fit so many, so much time on a single thing. Now with Spotify and all that, you can put as much out as you want to.
That doesn't really, you don't really run into that problem now. And I bet you, even from, this was 2015, right?
Yeah.
So that's almost 10 years ago.
I know.
And
This
so-
is crazy. It feels like I just heard this album yesterday. That's how much I love it. It just feels like every time I hear it, I'm like, I just heard this album for the first time.
that Need to Breathe concert was like 8 years ago.
My word. Yeah. Man, I'm getting old. I'm almost as old as Reed.
He's catching up.
He's catching. So, next year I'll catch him. So yeah, I think that but now we don't have that, which is one of the cool things about that is you can just keep cranking out music and you have
You could just put it out now.
Yeah, and you could get an audience, but there is a little bit of the storytelling side that gets missed with that because we live in an era of just making a single. Like you're just going to make a single, like, and this, to put an album together that all fits together. We said, I remember, in fact, I was just showing you because we were talking about a track, and I'm like, I think this is why I like it because it sounds like one of my old band when I was in Minnesota, and I popped it on there. But we wrestled with the order of the songs and how it was going to flow together and what it was going to, does it tell a story? Now that album doesn't tell a story throughout the thing, but in fact, it was very poorly produced because I produced it. So, but it was fun. That was before we had the money for the recording studios, or we were just like putting things together, trying to make it happen, and and trying to, instead of using plugins for your telephone effect, back in the old days, for all of you young folk, you would call your house and you'd hang up, and then it would ring your house, and you could pick up both ends of the line and talk. And so we put a microphone on one end of the line, and we'd talk through it on the other end of the line. And that's how we got the telephone effect.
Calling your own house.
We call our own house, yeah. So I mean, production-wise, so when I pay attention, like listen to this stuff, the production is awesome.
Yeah.
That I love it. So the guitar tones are there. This thing, so it's all together. But this album was written kind of around a certain time period, and I think that was pretty cool too. So.
Actually, what's really cool is like this is the only album recorded in the studio that will ever be recorded in this studio, because Hurricane Sandra came through after they recorded it and like wiped out their studio.
Killed the entire studio.
Wow. So this is it.
They had to replace all their recording equipment.
This is the only album ever made. This one right now. That's not true at all. There was a second one. No.
It's on the internet now, Ken. It's true.
That's true. That's how I listened to it. It was on Spotify, So we talked. Yeah, that's crazy. So they wrote this. They put this together before.
Yeah, so
the
they
hurricane.
recorded in that, and then after that, the hurricane wiped out the studio.
Well, at least we got this album.
This was their New York album, so they just moved to New York and then did it, and then the hurricane wiped it out.
Nah.
And they're still cooking?
Yep,
nowadays?
they have come out, I think, with 3 more albums after this.
I should probably listen to them, but I like this one so much.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So, so anyway, yeah. I mean, there's not. We're just throwing this out. Like, this is one of the albums that I love. And so, how do you? Let me ask you this: how do you find music that you love? Like, like it comes from everywhere.
It does. It does. I find this is a cop out, but a lot of music that I've been listening to lately, that is stuff that is new to me, is music that my students want to learn. Or like, I just found out about a band called I Don't Know How, but They Found Me. I might be saying this wrong, but it's one guy and he's a bass player and he makes this music. One of my students is just obsessed, and every single one of these songs that I listen to, I was like, oh, this is catchy. This is cool.
Okay.
This is so like that's like some of my new favorite pop music is I Don't Know How, but They Found Me.
I love when people say, "Hey, you should check out this new song." You know, and it's like, or they'll bring something, especially when they think they figured me out.
Oh yeah.
And they'll like, "I think you'll like this," you know, and I love it because now I'm pretty eclectic when it comes to my music listening. I have something where like I'll sit home and this is what I'm putting on. It's a lot of this style of music or whatever, or a lot of Americana kind of stuff. But so when I sit at home, I just naturally put it on, you know. But it's but man, do I love finding new music. And it's why I think that's one of my favorite things. Like one of the ways we do our recitals or our concerts, we're calling them concerts now, is we put a house band together, you know, and our students will play with the house band. And so they're bringing music, or we're trying to figure out music that they want to learn. And I think that's awesome. And so when you guys bring me like, hey, can you sit on the keys on this or whatever, it's like a song that maybe I've never played before.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it's super fun.
Man, it's a lot of fun. So listen, everybody finds music. Everybody loves music. I mean, we're here. We're in a music shop because we love music. We love playing music. We love listening to music. We love being inspired by music. I want you, if you could, you may disagree. Like, go listen to this album. Check it out because these guys I like them. Yeah. Nate, not so much. But it's okay. It's throwing them under the bus.
This is a fantastic album. I don't want my review to be Nate didn't like it.
My point in it is what I like you may not like, and what you like Tyler may not like, and that's the beauty of music. Mm-hmm. It really is. It's what inspires me is for me, you know. Mm-hmm. And so if you're out there making music, who cares if it gets mass? You know, certainly get better, but don't make it so that you get likes, right? No. Make it because it's from you, and the people that will like it, and it will inspire them, and I think that's awesome. But what music do you love? You know, I mean, what album have you been listening to lately that surprised you when you heard it and you're like, I got to listen to it, and it's been on repeat since 2015. You know, what is that? I mean, for me, a lot of it, I didn't grow up on classic rock, you know, and so now like I hear a lot of classic rock and I get mesmerized by it because I think of all this stuff that they were doing with no technology. Yeah. And it blows my mind, like what they were able to do, the sounds they were. I mean, go listen to some old Beatles albums, you know, and just like they were making things happen. Yeah. And so what do you love? You know, give this a listen. Tell us if you like it or don't like it. You know, for me, I love it. I love the soaring lines. Yeah. So, anything you want to say closing out?
I mean, if you are making music, like, and you get 20 likes, remember that's 20 people, and then go stand in a room with 20 people and see how that feels.
Yeah, that's more than you think, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I mean, listen, there are some awesome shows with 20 people in them. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So
all of mine.
Yeah, do it. Go make music. Be great. Be awesome.
Thanks
for joining us.